Welcome back. The Technology Modernization Fund could get $1 billion boost in the next coronavirus response bill. The House's HEROES Act includes money for the fund, and Senate Democrats are pushing for a similar investment in the other chamber's stimulus bill. Matt Cornelius is executive director of the Alliance for Digital Innovation. He's former senior advisor for technology and cybersecurity policy to the federal chief information officer. Matt, welcome. It's great to see you. You told the House Government Operations Subcommittee recently that one of the big problems agencies are up against are technical debt and antiquated operating models. Now, it struck me that neither one of those things is an IT problem per se. What can IT people do to address those issues in government, and what does Congress need to do to help agencies address those problems?
Well, thanks for having me, Francis. And I agree that not all technology problems in government are inherently IT problems. I mentioned that in my opening statement. A lot of it is cultural problems. A lot of it are sort of digital workflow problems, meaning that agencies haven't updated their operating models to take advantage of the newest and best commercial capabilities. And because of that, and the way the sort of budgeting and appropriations process works, agencies have years and years and years of not necessarily the best and most thoughtful spending, but instead are just constantly keeping old systems or old workflows going just because that's comfortable and the agencies are used to that. So I think on the agency side, they should be much more forceful and thoughtful in laying out their modernization plans, their application rationalization plans, their data plans, and aggressively communicating that to OMB and to Congress, and making the case for why they need, whether it's more resources or more flexibility in their current sort of funding models to enable them to achieve the goals and the outcomes they'd like to see happen.
One of the recommendations that you make is a big boost, as I mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, to the Technology Modernization Fund. Is $1 billion enough? I mean, $1 billion sounds like a lot of money even in Washington, but given the technical debt that we're talking about here, maybe it isn't the right amount of money even to get a start.
Well, it's certainly a lot better than the 150 million that's been appropriated over the past three budget and appropriation cycles. I think $1 billion is a great floor. It's certainly not a ceiling for the TMF. And it's not just so much having the money at the TMF, and especially when I was back at OMB and worked to stand up the model, we always knew that to make the TMF truly successful, you were going to have to make it both an agency-specific model where agencies are presenting plans to the Technology Modernization Board that meet the criteria that they laid out, and are being invested and overseen in a way that allows them to be successful. But the operating model is going to need to change, especially if there's $1 billion or more that goes into TMF, where OMB and GSA are going to have to work across the federal enterprise and take all the lessons that they are learning now and have learned over the past few months with the COVID-19 response and start making some of these enterprise-wide investments in digital collaboration tools, network upgrades, identity, credentialing, and access management issues. There's so much out there where these sort of top-down investments from OMB and GSA with that whole of government view can really help accelerate a lot of the good work that has happened in the response and recovery efforts.
Another recommendation that you make is to give OMB and the agencies more flexibility about handing that money out. At what point does that take away the oversight that Congress always wants to have, Matt?
I think there's a good trade that can be made there. And I think giving agencies more flexibility with their dollars and coupling that with stronger and better oversight from Congress and OMB is a winning formula. And the Alliance for Digital Innovation said as much when the 2021 budget came out back in February. We wrote letters to the 6 appropriations committees, to the chair and ranking members in both the House and the Senate, to give the agencies that requested either new IT working capital funds or changes to their current working capital or IT investment opportunities to enable, one, more flexibility at the agency level, but also to sort of imbue those funds with the oversight that would be required under the MGT Act. So you really get the best of both worlds. I think agencies have been very open and forthcoming on the needs that they have and the challenges that they're currently facing. And it really is going to take a two-way street. And that goes back to that aggressive communication plan that I think agencies have to have. And our hope is that whether it's now in a relief bill, in future appropriations, that agencies will be able to get the flexibility they need to spend this money effectively and smartly, like any commercial business would, while still maintaining a level of oversight and sort of outcomes and performance-based management that Congress and OMB would like to see.
20 seconds left. Super quick answer. You're proposing also revamping Klinger-Cohen and the eGov Act. How so?
Oh, that's definitely not a 20-second answer.
I know that's not fair.
No, but to be quite candid, Francis, I think if you look back, that's 20 and 25 plus years of IT laws that are still on the books. And frankly, the technology market today, the way agencies function from a technology standpoint, those laws, while well intended at the time, do not reflect the current reality. So I think a comprehensive look at the authorities that agencies, that OMB, and the partnerships that both agencies, OMB, and industry need to build in order to get us to that 21st century government that folks have been talking about for so long. I think that's well worth a look and something that we would certainly like to see the next Congress aggressively move towards.
Cornelius, thanks very much.
Thank you, Francis.